Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel for this episode 19 of the 200 horsepower challenge here on Comlands with me, Farmer Murphy. Well, you can see it's reasonably early the next morning. Our money has gone up. The sun is just nicely coming up. But I was up early this morning and started in the dark, taking care of our cows, selling our milk, selling our eggs. That's where our money came from. I've fed the cows. I've moved the manure over to our production, but I have not moved our slurry yet. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But just as today started in the dark, yesterday finished in the dark, let's jump into construction mode here and take a look at what I was doing. Get swung around here and go to our new field. So I got all the grass mowed and picked up here on this side of the road where our production is going to go, and on the other side. And I worked into the dark and I got our fields plowed in. Now they've just been plowed. They haven't been scanned, limed, or rock picked yet. That all needs to be done. But I put a large field in here that I plan on putting barley in at this point, and three, what I call strip fields that we're going to put our vegetables in. One for beets, carrots, and parsnips. Now this one here on the end is a tiny bit, or a little bit smaller, just because the road cuts it off. So we'll put our highest yielding vegetable in that one. Now, I had originally planned swapping those three fields with this one here, swapping their position, but this right here kind of messed that up. I've got these fields set up so that I can take a worker and set one off here on this end, like heading that way, and then, whoops, one up here heading down that way. And so I'll have two workers working at the same time, and I'll cart the vegetables over to our production. Well, in order to do that here, this actually ended up interfering with two fields. I would have to make a big headland on those fields, and I would have had to do that basically one row at a time. Didn't like that idea. Here I can make a headland with our grain harvester. That'll go pretty quick, and then I can fire off a worker on that. So just to make it worker friendly is why I did it. So I will have to cart a little bit further to production, but it's still reasonably close. I think we're going to put barley in here just for the same reason. I don't want to deal with that headland with potatoes. We'll just wait one more crop cycle and we'll throw spuds in this one like we planned. And we need a little extra money because I'm hoping to run two potato harvesters on here as well. So we have no grass ready. As you can see there in the distance, our barley is ready. So I have that to do. I have those fields to get ready. I have the slurry to move yet, but actually let's do it this way. We'll look at our production, and you can see we got nearly 500,000 liters of grass off that field. I have fermented all but 300,000 because our output is full. So we need to sell some of that silage off. And if we take a look at the price, the peak price on silage is $4.39, and we're at $4.31. So we're not taking much of a hit selling that silage off now, or some of it off. And I need to sell it to make space, but also we need to do some shopping. I want to upgrade our slurry tanker. That's why I haven't moved the slurry yet. We have over 8,000 liters up in our top cow barn, and so that means 3 trips with our old tanker. So I want to buy this one here. It says it's ultra light, so that'll be good for pulling up the hill empty. It holds 15,000 liters. Like I say, the only downside is that darn swivel axle, but everywhere we need to go, I think we can get into just fine with that. And that'll last us capacity-wise till we're done in the series, I would think. So we're just going to go ahead and buy that. And then, of course, we need to buy some vegetable equipment. So we're going to buy this ridger. We have to use the 3-meter one because we don't have the horsepower to pull the big one. It's the 6-meter one, but we can use the large seeder. So that's what, 89,000. So it's somewhat north of 100,000 to buy those items. And we'll see how fast it goes. We might end up buying two of those because we have the horsepower to run two of them. So if it's going too slow, we'll buy potentially two. So that's what we're up to today. No grass is ready, so the barley and those fields. So I'm going to start by selling some silage. So I'll get that done, and I'll bring you back in when that little job is taken care of. So we'll see you in a bit. Well, it's just before 10 a.m. As you can see, I have the fields scanned, rock picked, and limed. I used a worker to do as much of that as I could. While that was going on, I was selling the silage, and I purchased the equipment that I had showed you earlier. So it's all sitting up at the store, and actually that's where we're heading now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get the ridger on this tractor and get a worker going on that, ridging the vegetable plots. Then I'll get our newer doits going on our seeder and get a worker going on seeding that barley field. And then I'll get back to the barley harvest. I had started it, but really didn't get very far. So I'll carry on with that while our workers work on our fields. So that is the plan. So there's our equipment, our slurry tank, our seeder, and there's our ridger. Now, if it's going too slow, we could put our other doits on it. Theoretically, it should have enough horsepower, but we've got enough going on right now. We'll see how it goes with just the one worker. I have traffic turned off right now, so we can just sneak right across here. Cut across the neighbor's field. I'm sure he won't mind one little bit. Now the vegetables we don't need to roll, so once we get them seeded, we are done. So that's a good thing. Of course, our barley will have to roll. So now I'm just going to set a, oops, if I hit the right button, I'm going to set a worker off and let him do this. This is making ridges like you would see in a potato field, I guess. It moves along pretty quick at that. And then we plant into those ridges is the idea, I'm assuming. Good view of the old doits at work. Now, if all goes well, or according to plan, he should have no issue here. He'll just turn around and go, and we won't need a headland or anything. Away he goes again. I don't think it's going to take him very long to get these 3 fields done. See if he maintains his speed going up this hill. yeah, no problem at all. Now we can use any of our tractors to run that seeder. I think it only takes 70 horsepower. The only issue would be like if we were to use our small tractor, if it's got enough weight on the front to compensate for the weight of the seeder. Alright, well we'll jump out here. We'll let him carry on. He seems to know what he's doing. So I'll run back to the farm and I'm going to get our other tractor going and we'll get him rocking and rolling on getting barley in this field. So I'll catch up with you when I'm set up to do that. So see you in a minute. Well, there we go. We're ready to set a worker off on here. As you can see, I put a good size headland in. I just didn't want him to run across into the other field at all. So I wanted to make sure he was corralled. And you can see that worker there is just about done that field. So certainly no need to have another ridger. In fact, if we had another tractor available, we could actually get one seeding on that field, but we are out of tractors. I'm using our small one to cart for the harvester. Now, our lime spreader again had a real issue on these fields. It was behaving even worse than it was on the field there across the way in front of us. I even tried using it on just a plowed section, one that hadn't been rock picked, and it made no difference. So we're going to have to be sure to put lime down before we do any kind of cultivation or anything. Which I suppose theoretically is what you should be doing. At least I hope then it won't have an issue, but it'd be pretty near, at least 45 degrees to the tractor. As soon as it hit the grass, if you drove over it, smartened right up. Now I don't know if a higher horsepower tractor would have made a difference. I kind of doubt it because I did some of the liming going the direction we're going now, and it'd be all squirrely. As soon as it hit that grass section, no problem at all, straighten right up. So it's kind of a weird one, but I think we can work with it. It's just on the new fields it's going to be an issue because of course we can't lime any of these fields we make until we at least plowed them. But things go so much faster when you're able to use workers. Like when I'm plowing these fields out here on console, we have no way to get a worker to do it, so we have to do it all by hand. So I didn't have the luxury of having a worker do it. Because here it is, just a few minutes after 10, and we're I would say almost by noon. I would think we'll have all of these fields seeded. I would expect. And this Deutz says no issue pulling that drill, although our older Deutz did. We'll jump out here. We'll let him carry on. So we'll let these guys go. I'm going to head back over and work on that barley harvest, because once that's done, we got to turn that field around. But that doesn't take too long because it's certainly not very big. So we'll let this go, and I will bring you back in when we're ready to start seeding. So we'll see in a little bit. Well, seeding vegetables, I guess I should say. We're obviously seeding barley. So yeah, we'll see in a little bit. Well, we brought our little brower up here to the store. We're going to see if it's heavy enough to deal with this vegetable seeder, planter. I'm not sure what the right term for it is. What do they call it in the store if we go and have a look at it? They call it plant, I guess. Plant vegetables. So Well, so far so good, because our other tractors are both still busy, although the large Deutz is on its last field for ridging, but it just started it. So we'll head down and we'll grab some seed. This thing only holds 32 liters, so it's not like it's going to add a whole lot of weight. The barley is in. I put all but 4,000 liters into our silo, and then 4,000 liters I put into our seed production. We were down to 2,500 liters of seed in there, so we've gone through a fair bit. But another additional 4,000 liters should get us through. And we'll always have some barley on hand, I would think now, because the chickens don't need any right at this point. Well, seems to be handling it okay. Doesn't seem to be too light in the front end. Now, if we did have one more larger tractor, I could have a worker going on this, and I could be picking up that straw. There was the same tractor as our old Deutz come up for sale a little bit ago. And I was tempted, but I thought, wow, we just really don't need it. But we got to the point where we could use an additional tractor a little quicker than I thought. Now, oh no, we don't need to open covers. Okay, cool. Got the help menu on, as you can see, just for that very reason. Now, I did a very scientific study and determined that beets should have the highest yield, so we'll put those in the smallest field. I simply did that by looking at the price, and beets has the lowest price, so I figure it has the highest yield. Very scientific, I know. And the other two fields, it doesn't matter, of course, because they're almost exactly the same size. As close as I could get them anyway. So what are we on? The very thing that we don't want. So we'll throw carrots in here. We'll go carrots, parsnips, beets. I'll unfold this. Now I think ideally you would line the those planter wheels on those ridges, I suppose, if you were doing it according to Hoyle. We're going to turn a worker loose. I have played with this a little bit on Zelonka, and I know that that's a little tricky to see that texture change. I mean, it is darker, but it's a little tough to see, and we don't have the best light right now. This time of year on Calmlands, it's a little dull. Well, that's cool that this old girl will handle this job just fine. Now, I forgot to mention, you notice I was going the other direction on that field there, and that's simply so I didn't have to deal with those trees up at the top and make a large headland. That's the only reason I did that. Did the same thing when I was rock picking. I am going to leave you for just a second, and I'm going to turn off that help menu. We don't need that anymore. So you'll see a little jump, but it shouldn't take, well, you know what, I'll just, well, that probably was going to be a little bit bigger jump than I had probably, and I actually had started to say that I wouldn't bother pausing and turning the menu off. My phone went off. So Yeah, there's going to be a little bit of a jump there, I'm sure, in editing, so that's what went on there. Ooh, I meant to throw some fuel in the old girl before I got her going on this. I forgot. Oh, a little bit of wheel spin there. There's no wheel weights available for this tractor. So it's right at its limit coming up this hill. If we had wheel weights, we'd probably be okay, I'm thinking. But we don't. Only 32 liters of seed in there, but boy, it sure goes a long ways. Now, I suppose we could have got away with the 3-meter seeder, but why? We can use the 6Y. What's going to take the time is harvesting this. On Zalanka, I did a couple contracts on some pretty small fields, and that's my entire harvesting experience. So I could be in for a bit of a surprise, but hopefully with 2 harvesters it'll go pretty quick. So we have, by my reckoning, close to 800,000 liters of silage still left. Now we need to buy the potato production, that's 135, and the 2 harvesters, which is another 200. So we should have enough silage on hand right now to get pretty close to that. What would it be? 240,000 roughly, 250,000. So very close, but we'll have more silage, I'm sure. Before we need to buy the harvesters and the production. But there will be a little landscaping too that we need to do. Actually, we could... Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Whoopsie, operator error. I meant to do that, so we could have a look from in-cab. Well, I guess there isn't a whole lot to see. Everybody's working. Like I said, if we had one more tractor, we could make it busy as well, but eventually. You can see the mink tire slipping there a little bit. Alright, well, I think we'll leave these guys to carry on. I'll pick up the straw as soon as the bigger Deutz is done. And yeah, we'll bring you back in and kind of do a wrap here in a little bit. I'm pretty sure we're going to be getting pretty close on time, so I'll check that as well. Oh, we need to do our slurry. We haven't moved that yet, so we'll finish the episode with that. So we'll catch up with you when we're ready to deal with that slurry. See you in a little bit. Well, we're back up here at the store to get our slurry tanker to do the last chore we're going to do here of this episode. I brought our yard tractor up because that's the one I want to do this chore with, so I'm going to see how it handles it, but I didn't realize they're kind of color coordinated. That was unintentional. Oh, before we get going here, let's look at the map. You can see we have our fields are all planted or seeded, and I have a worker here on this barley field busy rolling it right now. And I have all the straw picked up off of our barley field here. So it's ready to be, excuse me, turned around. So, and it's, yeah, not even noon. So that went really well. But I did have to fill the vegetable planter up. It ran out with about a row and a half to do, of course. So did have to throw a little bit more seed in there. You can see our money has really gone down. That's primarily worker fees, but I've also had to do some vehicle repairs and buy fuel, so that's also eaten into it. Once we get this slurry moved, I can turn the fertilizer production on, and once I've topped up our supply, I think it was 8,000 liters we were keeping on hand. So once I get up to that 8,000 mark, then I'll sell the rest off, and that'll help us in the bank account, so we don't need to sell any more silage. But we should have grass ready next month or tomorrow in game. So that will mean we'll need to sell off all of our silage at that time, because we'll need to have room to put our next batch in. But we'll be ever closer to that peak price, so that's okay. Now I can't imagine this tractor is going to have an issue dealing with that, because my plan is to come up here like this, empty. We'll fill it up here, and then we'll go grab it from the bottom cow pen and throw it in our production. Now there is equipment all over the place here. Some of it I managed to get put away, but I'll have to get that tidied up. What I'm thinking is we'll put a shed by our potato production that will put all our root crop stuff in, and keep it all down there. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Now hopefully this works, because I've never used this before. Oh shoot. Well, let's actually just turn on the help menu here and see if there's an open cover or anything that we need to deal with. Never thought of that. Well, maybe I'll go around one more time and see if we can get a little closer. I know the trigger is... Oh, no, it isn't. Farmer Murphy, what are you thinking? Ah, that was some more stinking thinking, and now you see this one. Slurry triggers here on this end. Okay. So we are going to have to back up just a little bit, I think, to make that corner. Oh, dummy. Gee whiz. See, my other thought was putting the shed in along here, but I've actually been turning around in this area, so I think we'll have that spot down there that would work good. And I'm thinking if we put a nice size shed in there, that we can put all our root crop stuff in. We won't need to add one up here. But in the meantime, I'll try and get this stuff squirreled away somehow. We do have a little room here down at the homestead that we can put some stuff to, so I think we'll be okay until we get the harvesters, the potato harvesters. They're going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back, I'm afraid, as far as getting undercover. Wow, just about full. Of course, it's getting on during the day, and it's been a couple days. Perfect. There we go. Well, I think I will leave the episode there. We're certainly over 30 minutes, so was a pretty entertaining episode, if I do say so myself. Did lots of different things. So if you're still with me, really appreciate you watching. If you haven't already, I encourage you to hit that like and subscribe button. And if you want to be know when other content like this lands, hit that old notification bell. For this episode though, here on Calmlands, it's Farmer Murphy signing off.